All right, Maximilian. We've got
play a little game.
We are proud partners with the College Board. The College Board, of course, are the people who bring you the SAT.
Yes.
SAT test. And how were you as a standardized tester?
Great. Standardized tests in general never seem to faze me. I always win with the mindset of, well, I'm either going to do well or not. So what difference does it make how I feel about it?
I was very good at testing as well. Not a very smart guy. Great at tests.
Yeah, I would totally.
I
think in a class of like 300, I was like 77th. So, remember that when you're listening to me talk about anything.
But good at tests. And one of the key parts, and something I always did well on the SAT, analogies.
Sure.
And so,
we decided.
In partnership with our friends at the College Board, we've decided to take a look at some analogies. Right. Some analogies having to do with football in Texas. Max?
Yes, sir.
What's the first analogy?
Trayvon Boykin is to Josh Doxson as Kenny Hill is to...
Interesting. So really what we're asking is, remember, these analogies, you take what is the relationship between the first two, and then you apply it to the second two and answer the question. So the analogy was that Josh Doxson was Trayvon Boykin's go-to guy at TCU. And he was sensational and one of the best receivers in the nation before he got hurt.
Yes.
So who's going to be Kenny Hill's go-to guy this year at TCU? I think you've got a number of different options, but for me, I think it's going to be Emmanuel Porter.
Yeah.
I think Emmanuel Porter is going to end up going in for a very big year. They've got a lot of options. Ty Slanina could have a breakout year from kind of the slot position. Kevontae Turpin is obviously a burner and has already flexed his muscles in the return game. Maybe the junior transfer from the junior college transfer, Taj Williams. But my money's on Emmanuel Porter. Right. I think Emmanuel Porter is going to be the new go-to guy in this TCU offense, and we'll see in their opener against South Dakota State how that all works. Remember, we have a lot of questions about this TCU offense, but I think that Kenny Hill can look to his right and see Emmanuel Porter and feel pretty good about what's a guy he can throw to there. So I would go with Emmanuel Porter as the answer to that. We need like a bell sound.
A ding.
Like ding. Ding. Yes, I think it's.
We also need a jingle at the beginning.
Yeah.
These things will be coming.
Yeah, they will. Okay. So what's
next
the next
question?
What's the next one?
2015 is to Frisco Lone Star, as 2016 is to...
Interesting. So a question about who is going to be kind of the surprise party crasher, right? I think that's fair to call them a party crasher. At Frisco Lone Star, nobody really expected them to make a deep run, but they obviously got to a state championship game and in many respects played well enough to win the state championship game. I think Cedar Park was probably the better team, but in the end, this is a team that you expect to do big things. If you're looking for another team that may be on the radar, and I think you got to go with the big school level as well.
Sure.
Generally, in the small school level, that's where the Blue Bloods really, really make their hay. But if you're looking for a school maybe off the radar a little bit that could make a deep run, I look at a team like Colleyville Heritage.
Sure.
Okay, Colleyville Heritage is a squad that's dropping down from 6A down to 5A, and the one thing they've got is that they've got the go-to guy. They've got Cameron, the quarterback, and they've got Kevon Ahmad, and they can just call the touchdown play when they want to. Now, I have questions about their defense.
Sure.
But if you're looking for a team that is maybe off the radar, especially in the DFW area, if you're looking for a team that can maybe make a run to a state championship game that maybe people around the state aren't talking about, I think it's Colleyville Heritage. I would keep an eye on the Panthers. Would be my pick to maybe off the radar pick to make a run to a state championship game.
Right,
what's the next analogy, Max?
Josh Rosen, UCLA quarterback, is to 12th man comments as Greg Tepper is to. Okay,
so Josh Rosen, the UCLA quarterback. He was interviewed yesterday, and he made some sort of comment about how
after 50,000 people, it all sounds the same.
So he's basically more or less calling out the 12th man.
Basically saying you're not special.
Yes,
I don't care.
He's saying that it's not going to be, it's not going to be. He's not saying it's not going to be loud.
Yes.
He's saying that.
At a certain point.
It just all is noise.
Right.
And so that is a really dumb thing to say.
It doesn't help. That's for sure.
There's no upside to saying
There's
this.
zero upside.
No upside.
Yeah.
So for me, what would the equivalent of me
First off,
say?
the right thing to say in that situation is, well, I'm sure everyone says it's an amazing atmosphere. I'm really looking forward to just being a part of it.
That's exactly right. You say they've got a legendary atmosphere. We know they're going to be loud. We've been trying to practice, deal with it in practice, and we're going to go out there and see how it goes. That's what you say. So that's the right way to take it. Yeah. He took the wrong way to take it.
Sure.
So this would be more or less the equivalent, I think, of me. I don't know.
Doing anything on Twitter that you shouldn't?
Honestly, yeah. It was probably like, me just shooting off.
Feeding the trolls.
Shooting off at the mouth on Twitter and saying something that I shouldn't on Twitter. I think, but it has to be specific to like a fan base, right?
Yes.
I think the equivalent would be that I would have to say something like Houston got lucky last year. You know what I mean? Like Houston's a one-hit wonder.
Right.
That would be, which I don't believe. Don't isolate that.
Can I just clip that one
Don't
part?
isolate
Clip that one part?
That would be the equivalent of it.
Yeah.
But a remarkably dumb idea to say that by Josh Rosen. That would be. I think if I were to say, you know what, I think Houston's overrated. That would be kind of equivalent. Okay, what's next?
Probably not wise. Okay, this one I love. Jim Harbaugh is to college football as blank is to Texas high school football. I think there's only one answer here.
I think we both are going the same way.
I'm very curious to see what you're going to say, but I think we might disagree. We'll see.
I'm going to go with Jason Herring at
Yes,
Mercurio.
of course.
Okay, good.
Jason Herring.
Okay, so
Nice.
Jim Harbaugh, of
Nice.
course. Jim Harbaugh, of course, a little outspoken.
Yeah. Does not care what you think.
Does not care. He's not in this he's in this to win ball games. He's not in this to make
friends. No friends.
He's got the reality show idea in that, So there's that. So the thing about high school football coaches is that a lot of them are there are coaches who will say what's on their mind.
Yeah.
But they're almost all like diplomatic about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're not afraid to say, I think we were the better team or something like that. But they're diplomatic about it, and they most of them say the right thing. Yeah. Jason Herring, on the other hand, is not afraid to rub people the wrong way. Yeah. And he's always been like that, and that's one of the things I love about Coach Herring is that he will say what's on his mind, good, bad, or indifferent. Right. And so I would say that the Jim Harbaugh of Texas high school football is Jason Herring at Refuria. That would be my pick.
100% agree. This is one at the end here. I really don't know where we're going with this.
Okay.
But Iowa is to corn as Texas is to...
Interesting. So you're an Iowan.
Yeah, I assume that this is why Iowa got selected, that I had some sort of perspective.
Well, I don't know. This is so Iowa. I didn't write these questions. So
that's
these
true.
are
these were just given to us by the College Board.
Correct.
Yes.
These are official questions on the
SAT. Please study.
But so corn is kind of the defining characteristic of Iowa, right? Like when people think of Iowa, I think they think of corn. Do you think that's fair?
I think that is fair. Continue.
So
I have a thought, but I think it comes later.
Okay. So I think that is the defining characteristic of Iowa is corn.
Right. It's not Fred Hoiberg.
No, it's not Fred Hoiberg.
Okay.
It's not the mayor. But it's not Matt Campbell yet either.
It's new. That's early. Yeah.
I think the defining characteristic of Texas, barbecue.
Barbecue is probably the right thing here.
I think when people think of Texas, they think of barbecue. That would be my and when it's not just food. I think just generally. I think
it's
that
tricky. My first,
like if you were to do word association,
right.
you'd go Iowa, corn, Texas, barbecue.
Sure.
You know.
Fair enough. My mind first went to cattle.
Interesting. Okay, cows.
Beef.
Yeah, beef.
Barbecue still ties in. Cattle. But then I kind of reversed because it's like, well, if you were going to make that analogy about Iowa, you would say pork. Pigs.
Of course, yes.
It's much, much, much more important there. Boy, I don't know. I would feel like if the number one thing you associate with a place, corn to Iowa, I would say something like big to Texas, boisterous, outspoken, pride, something like that. I think anywhere you go,
football
that is like
maybe
the defining characteristic.
Football maybe.
Football would be an excellent choice, but I don't know if it's football is
but
part
it's also
of
not
Texan pride.
And the other thing is it's also not unique to it. You know what I mean? Like football is big everywhere. Football is just bigger in Texas.
Right.
Iowa is kind of, although Iowa's kind of the same thing. Corn's not unique to Iowa. It's just the defining characteristic.
Absolutely. Right.
All right, so those are analogies. We'll do those every Wednesday here on DCTF Live.